the pain like.
Hey guys, dearyoongi here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing some common occurrences in K-pop at the moment that I personally would want to leave in 2023. Like, I am over these things and just want to see them gone. Of course, these are just my own opinions and there are so many more things we could discuss than just these select few, so I would love to hear your thoughts on any more you would like to include in the comments. Alright, let's get started. First up, I would like to see the trend of shorter songs die out. For quite some time now, it had started to become an almost common knowledge that music in general is getting shorter, and this isn't limited just to K-pop. There could be a number of factors for this. A lot of industry insiders have theorized that songs are getting shorter to increase the streamability of a song, so you're more likely to want to loop it on your Spotify or Apple Music or whatever you use if it's shorter and has left you generally wanting more, and that therefore increases the stream count. I also personally think that nowadays people's attention spans are getting much shorter, which is why we have seen a rise in popularity of short form media content such as TikToks. But for me, a 2.5 minute song doesn't make me want to listen to the same song on loop. It just makes me want that extra part of the song that was taken from me, you know? Like, it almost feels incomplete in a way, because to get the song to that shorter length, there will always be an emptiness where the song hasn't been fully actualized to the place that it could have been because there's sections taken out. It's like there's so much potential that we all know could have been there, but it wasn't explored. I won't spend too much time on this one because I want to move on to point 2, which is in the exact same boat. On a very similar note, so I'm going to link it with the previous one, in 2024, I really want to see fewer songs without bridges. One way in which producers are making songs shorter nowadays is simply just by taking out the bridge. I'm going to teeter just slightly into music nerd mode here, so bear with me, but the structure of a pop song has remained almost untouched for a very long time because it's just perfectly structured to be as catchy as possible. The most simplest pop song structure I can really think of is verse 1, maybe a pre-chorus, if not then straight to chorus, verse 2, then chorus, then we have the bridge, and the bridge is a very special part of the song because it's a different kind of verse. You can kind of throw the rule book away and make it slightly different than the other verses. And then of course we have the final chorus. Nowadays, a lot of K-pop songs simply have been throwing out the bridge entirely and either having an instrumental there instead to play us into the final chorus, or even worse, an instrumental just to play the song out entirely after just the second chorus. And that makes songs like 2 minutes long, and I hate it. The bridge is arguably one of the most fun parts of a song for me because it's usually something different, so it can let you in on a different part of the story that you might not have been able to explore with the verses. Without it, we're almost taking a bit of the variety out of the song, and it makes me sad. Give me back my bridges. Okay, moving on to another topic entirely. Another thing I'd like to leave in 2023, even though I don't think it will really happen, is Panchoa. For those who don't know, Panchoa is an online platform for K-pop fans claiming to translate articles about music, news stories, etc. Sort of in the same way that many networks like All K-pop and Koreaboo already do. And in the same way people already have very mixed opinions about those websites, people also have very mixed opinions about Panchoa. I never visit their website personally, but I do see a lot of their articles pop up on my Twitter timeline, and they have been renowned in the past for not just translating stories like they claim, but also mistranslating stories and therefore providing misinformation. The situation has gotten so bad now where people have actually started to have their suspicions that some of the people translating on behalf of Panchoa are not even fluent in Korean and are just picking and choosing what information to share with their viewers and then like filling in the blanks with whatever they want to push a story and get clicks. Now, I know we can claim that the people running these accounts are only human and mistakes can be made, but when you are aiming to provide translations for international audiences, especially about controversial topics in particular, then that's where innocent mistranslations, if that is what they really are, can become very dangerous, because it leads to the spreading of misinformation and then the further spurring on of fan wars, meaning a lot of innocent people could be getting a lot of hate that isn't warranted. This platform is very much aimed at international fans who aren't confident in translating Korean themselves and are therefore relying on these translations to give us all the information available, and unfortunately that does not seem to be what is happening. There have even been a few occasions where I have assumed something is a hot topic in K-pop at the moment because I saw a Panchoa article appear on my timeline with people quoting it, and the article says that netizens were up in arms about something, but then when I look elsewhere, that doesn't really seem to be the case at all. I never thought I'd say this, but we already have the likes of All K-pop and Koreaboo to contend with amongst many others trying to spread information. I don't think we need another platform spurring on hate trains. Next up, another thing I think we need to leave in 2023 is striving for viral success. I'm sure a lot of fans would like to sit here and claim that our faves are unique to this, and they're not aiming to go viral on social media with their latest comeback or challenge, but unfortunately almost all of these challenges are put out there by companies with the hopes of trending, and the artists have no choice but to try and push the dance challenge with whichever other artists are willing to get involved, with the hopes that the sound will reach the right part of the algorithm and get used by a greater audience than just K-pop fans. Unfortunately, this seems to be the norm nowadays, and I don't want this video to be pointing fingers at anybody or slyly calling anybody out. I would like this to just be like a general chat, but we have had a recent example this year of where TikTok or social media virality seemed great in the moment, but did not ultimately equate to the long-term success people hoped it would. And this is exactly the point I was trying to make in my video about said topic and that group, and people called me negative and pessimistic and like I was sort of wishing this bad juju on them. But the harsh reality is that this kind of short-term success is highly unlikely to be long-lived. A lot of companies who are aiming to go viral are kind of just hoping that their artist stays successful after that one thing takes off and stick it out for the long haul. But we do have to face the fact that it is very unlikely for that to happen, and the best way to try and maintain a long-term success is by building up a sort of consistency that you just can't get from one-off viral videos. For example, if one of my videos gets 1 million views, that's absolutely incredible, but that doesn't automatically mean that every video I upload will get the same level of consistent support or attention, and the same logic will unfortunately apply for any sort of media in the same style nowadays. Something else I am sick of seeing and would love to leave in 2023 is comparing every single concept an artist has to that of another and accusing them of copying them. Now, I'm not naive enough to believe that every single concept in K-pop was original and magically thought up by each company. I think we all can admit that we have now reached a time where doing something new and different is very difficult because a whole lot of concepts and ideas have already been explored. It's very hard to be unique nowadays, and a lot of labels are looking for the next big breakthrough in K-pop in order to be the blueprint for that. But this thing that K-pop fans do, where they accuse every artist of copying somebody else, is so annoying to me. I'm sorry. It's like you cannot get excited by any artist's comeback anymore without somebody trying to say, okay, but this looks like somebody else's. Even down to things such as like title cards. Maybe the concept artist or the editor or whatever just like the font style and bought a similar one. It's very rare that these similar concepts will have anything to do with the artists involved and they're just given these images to work with, yet it always seems to be the artists in K-pop who get the blame. I'm sorry, I do have an example for this one, it's time to name drop, but the whole debacle recently with Taemin's latest album looking like that of BTS's V. V's album Layover was in a cardboard box covered in labels and was supposed to look like a parcel delivery box to fit in with like the summer travel theme of his concept. Taemin's album Guilty was also in a cardboard box, but this one was supposed to be more like a shoebox, filled with like bits you would collect from a partner like keepsakes and mementos. There are some similarities in the style of content in the two comebacks' boxes, if that makes sense, of course, but I genuinely don't believe the intent of the latter was to straight up copy the former. But everybody was coming at Taemin like he personally ripped the idea right out of Taehyung's hands. Whenever something like this happens, I always feel so bad for the artists involved because they're probably seeing fans try to fight each other over something they didn't really have much say over, and they probably cringe quite bad. Next up, if there's only one thing on this list that we can actually leave in 2023, then I would love for it to be this one, and that is fans waiting for idols at the airport. If you've been watching my videos for a while now, then you would know that I say I always feel like I have a specific topic that I talk about on repeat like a broken record, and my broken record topic used to be that we should just let idols date and have private lives. Nowadays, I think I officially have another new topic that I would like to rant on about like a broken record. Unfortunately, I think this is one that some people are finally starting to agree with me on, and that is that fans simply should not be waiting for idols to arrive at airports or following them around and mobbing them there. I recently mentioned this in a video titled Things Some Fans Do That I Would Never Do, but for anyone who didn't see that video, the main reason this sort of thing bothers me is because I already see the airport as a very inconvenient place as somebody who has had to do a fair bit of traveling. It's not the most comfortable environment to be in at any time, and it can be very stressful, especially if you're at an airport before or after a long haul flight, if you're low on sleep, have had delays, lost luggage, etc. There's just so many factors that could go wrong at an airport, and for idols, they are at the airport to get to and from work. That is like their mode of transport. They're not actually on stage at that moment in time or doing a live stream, ready to put their best foot forward, but they are expected to do so nevertheless, or else they have a bad attitude. Since I last spoke about this topic, I have had a really important recent example, which comes from 17's Wonwoo, who recently opened up to fans to explain that he's already a nervous flyer, and it makes him even more anxious when he is at the airport and there is a big crowd of people around them, so he tries his best to hide away a bit more in large hats, sunglasses, etc. Upon hearing this, I would like to think that anybody who genuinely claims to support and care about this individual would be more understanding of his situation and not want to put him at any detriment, but instead, he is still getting mobbed at the airport as recently as this past week, where you can physically see how uncomfortable he is in that moment in time, and afterwards, he still felt the need to apologize for his behavior, not the people who put him in the position where he had to react in that way. It irks me so much because idols should not be expected to be the same persona you see on stage, simply on their way to or from work, despite what people say they have signed up for. It's about having some basic human decency and allowing people the space to do what they need to do. Okay, the next thing I would like to leave in 2023 is teasing a comeback for over a month. I'm not sure if this one is going to be more of a personal preference and I'm the only person making a big deal about this. Some people might really like these slow burn, build up comeback announcements because releasing content piece by piece builds up the excitement. I completely get why some people might enjoy having that thing to look forward to and like being reminded of it for quite some time. But for me, teasing a comeback for like a month plus on some occasions doesn't really do anything for me. I don't want to say I'm just impatient. I mean, I am, but that's not the issue at hand here. The problem with comebacks in this style is that by the time the comeback is actually finally released, I'm kind of over it. Like, is that bad? I'm sorry. Like, I've either forgotten about it or I'm not even that bothered anymore because I've moved on to something else now. I don't want to sound ungrateful. I do stand some artists who haven't had comebacks in years. So of course, if I had to choose between their label teasing a comeback for a month and a half or not seeing them come back at all, then of course the decision is simple. It makes itself. But in general speaking terms, if a label is feeding me a picture of each member once a week, a clip of the song in a month's time, I actually find it harder to get excited and build up that hype for myself because it's like I'm having to piece together all this info and I can't really put the story together in my head to get excited about. The K-pop world moves so fast and there's always so much going on at any one time that it's easy to forget about what an artist is doing if it's only appearing on your timeline once in a blue moon. I think teasing a comeback bit by bit in this way can be so much more successful if it's done in just a few weeks instead, with them releasing something new every couple of days max, as it keeps it in the forefront of your brain instead and it allows you to actually get excited about the build-up of something. Okay guys, and that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments on these ones I mentioned and anything else you would also like to leave this year. Let's get them all out in the open now and hopefully we can actually do it. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell. That should let you be the first to hear whenever I upload, and I will see you next time. Bye guys!